What is going on, folks out there? I'm Amos Morale III, and welcome to the Recruiting Corner, the opening edition. I'm joined by NOLA.com, the Times Picayune recruiting writer, Andrew Lopez. Andrew, what's going on today?
I'm ready to talk about the opener. It's been a crazy summer so far, so let's go. Let's get right into it.
All right, now you're very familiar with a lot of the kids that are there. Right. You spent a lot of time talking to them leading up to the opening.
Right.
So I want to get your opinion on a few things. So one big part of the opening is a 7-on-7 competition.
Right.
Who do you think is going to shine from Louisiana in that?
The main person I'm looking forward to seeing is probably Kristian Fulton, cornerback out of Rummel. I know we talked before, and he said that he's going out there, and he said, I'm not trying to be cocky. He goes, but I'm trying to go out there and prove that I'm one of the best players in my class and one of the best cornerbacks in the country. So I think this format is also very conducive to defensive backs. We've seen that in the past. We saw last year that, a kid like Dante Jackson really boosted his stock into eventually being a top 15, 20 player nationally on some rankings. A lot from what he did out at the opening so far. And I think Kristian Fulton has that drive. Some of the other prospects that are going to be out there, you have your Rashard Lawrences, who can't do all the drills because of LHSA rules. We're going to talk about another player in a second about that. But so I think you have a nice balance, but I would expect to see a guy like Kristian Fulton, who we've seen make plays time and time again, come back and maybe be our top 7-on-7 guy.
All right. Now let's talk about who do you feel has the most to prove going out there? I mean, obviously, being selected to the opening already, you're one of the top prospects in the country, but who do you think has the most to prove by competing out there?
Right. The first guy I'm going to talk about is another cornerback. Again, we're talking about cornerbacks who this is kind of their event. Is Kyle Meyers, the cornerback from Holy Cross, Florida State commitment. He's kind of a 3-4 star fringe kind of guy right now, depending on what service you go to. But he's been underlooked in this whole process. He feels he's still very underrated. I mean, this is a kid who just in February of this year, was pulling his second and third offers overall. You fast forward 5 months and he's at the opening. I mean, that's just something his recruitment has really come out of nowhere, and he's trying to prove that he is, one of the best cornerbacks in the country. The other guy I'm looking to see is Caleb Roddy, defensive end, possibly could end up being a defensive tackle at the next level. He's 6'5", 250, 260. But again, he, like Rashard Lawrence, is not going to be able to compete in pads, so he's going to have a limited amount of time to work with, but he's going to look to prove that he even belongs with that group. Yeah, he's not going to be able to have a lot of one-on-one time, but there's going to be other players that also cannot go one-on-one in these scenarios. But Caleb is determined. He is basically a consensus 3-star prospect, and I expect him to come out there and show that he does belong.
All right, now it's hard to accept that you're calling these guys underrated. One's committed to Florida State, one's committed to LSU,
and they're one of the top 166 players in the country by being invited to the opening. But that's kind of the nature of the beast.
All right, now let's talk to some people who are definitely not underrated.
Right.
Let's talk about Devin White and Dylan Moses. These are guys that have played both ways in high school, have played all over the field. How do you see them performing in a setting like this?
We had this kind of dilemma a couple of years ago when Leonard Fournette was going out to the opening, and he was the #1 player in the country, but he was a running back. The opening doesn't lend itself to running backs, especially in 7-on-7. Devin White and Dylan Moses are both going to play. They're both listed as athletes. They're both going to be playing running back and linebacker. Devin White has talked about wanting to play linebacker at the next level. So he's actually told me he's going to work mostly at running back while he's out here, so that doesn't surprise me too much. But I think both of those are going to compete for Spark championships. Dylan Moses, he is one of the consensus. We thought he was a consensus top player in 2017. Rivals actually has him #2 behind Marvin Wilson.
Guy with Louisiana ties.
Guy with Louisiana ties. He was his family's from Lafayette and Opelousas. I think the quote was, "I can, quote, see myself winning a championship in Baton Rouge." So for him to be behind Dylan Moses, it's not all that bad. But Dylan could look to go out there and possibly become the first 2-time Spark champion. He posted a 120 score not too long ago as a freshman last March. So it's going to be interesting to see what both of these guys can do out there at the opening.
All right. Well, folks, that's about all the time we'll take from you today. Be sure and check out all the great recruiting content we have at NOLA.com/recruiting. And until next time, I'm Amos Morale III. That's Andrew Lopez. Thanks for clicking on us.
Let's go.